Hi students, let us learn new concepts, force and laws of motion. So you might know what is the meaning of force from the our past knowledge. So let us define force first, even if you know that. So force is nothing but it's a push or pull. So force is a push or pull upon an object. So here you can see, so this is the boy. So he is applying a force, means he is pushing. He is pushing the trolley, and because of that action, the trolley will be moved. Similarly, if you can take here a drawer, if you want to open this drawer, you need to apply force along this arrow mark direction. Now this action we call as pull. Now if you apply force in that particular direction, so then only the drawer will be moves. So here we can see one more animation. You want to make move this stone. So he is trying very hard. He is pushing. So there is an interaction between this person and the stone. And if I take one more example at here, suppose if you are doing weightlifting. So to lift the weights, so we need to apply force. So then only the weights will be moved. So what are the actions we are doing to make the objects to move? So we are applying certain force. So because of that, the objects will be moved. So finally we can define force as force is a push or pull, anything, upon an object. So here without object we cannot do anything. So not like that in the air you are pushing. So even here we are applying a force, but we can't feel that. Suppose if you take a book, on the book you are applying a force. I am just applying more force on the book on the two sides. So I applied a force on the book. So like that, the interaction. So without the interaction, objects depends upon one another. So we can mention that as a force. So finally I can define force as force is a push or pull upon an object resulting from the object interaction with another object. Now let's see here one more example. So the girl is trying to hit the hockey ball. Now to make move this hockey ball at here, so we need to hit with a hockey stick. So if we do not pull the bat backwards, then the ball do not move. So this action what we call hitting. So by applying a force on the ball with the help of bat. Okay, now here you can observe, so before at here the ball is not moving. So if it is not moving, I can mention as it is at rest. Now after applying force applied, what force causes? The ball is in motion. Yeah, if I really if I relate this concept to what we learned in the earlier concept, just like motion or speed, velocity, acceleration, these things. So to make objects to move, if they are at rest, we want to make them to move, to bring them into motion. We need to apply any kind of these actions, either pushing or pulling or hitting. So these actions makes objects change their state of motion. So in a simple words, if I can say, force causes the objects to move. If you can have a ball, you want to make it move, what we can do? It's a simple. We need to just kick it. We need to apply force. So that causes the objects to move. So force is the cause for the motion. So let's see in detail what are the different types of the forces we are going to learn. So as per I said, force is nothing but interaction between two objects. So this word is very, very important when you are writing the definition. Force happen when two objects interact with each other. There should be interaction. So let us take certain example for the forces. So some forces we already know that. We know that on the earth we are having gravity. So because of the gravity only, the objects fall. Suppose if this is a pen is in the air, suppose if I release that one, now the pen falls. So what could be the cause and who applied force on the pen? So what our answer? So gravity applied force on the pen. So since we are on the earth, so earth is having its natural force, so that we call as gravity. So gravity is responsible for the objects to fall. Now the second force, if you can see at here, air resistance. So what this force means, it's a new force to you, but I will try to understand, make you understand. Suppose you might be know about this parachute or not. Suppose if you are the coming down with the help of a parachute. So as per I said, so this is you and you open a parachute balloon. So over you what happens? The gravity acts downward direction. Since it is on the surface of the earth, the gravity is always acts. And if you can see, if this is the very much big balloon type, so it is coming all the way from the sky to down, the air will be trapped inside, the air will be pushes the balloon upward direction. Now that makes us too easy to land. So what is the present inside the air? Now that will be applying a force opposite to gravity. So that force we call as air resistance. So we will learn about this much more in the coming sessions. And next one, you are well known about friction. Friction is a type of force. Without the friction, we cannot move. So friction causes to make us, it's an helping force, it's make us to walk. So without the friction, what happens if you walk? Just like if you are walking on a slippery place, oil expelled place. So when you can walk on such a like that places, we won't get grip. So because friction will be less. So friction is very, very necessary force to make for walk or to the motion or like that. So we will study about this further. So this is the third category force, third type, third example. And one more example I can give, thrust. Thrust is a force. You might be know that when rocket is launching, so here you can see the rocket has to move forward direction. But who makes the rocket move forward direction? So here you are seeing the hot gases which are burning inside rocket. So they will apply force backward direction. Now this backward direction force we call as thrust. So about this force also we will learn in the coming sessions. And here one more force which you can see, upthrust. Upthrust. Now this person is floating on water. So he is nicely floating on water. If any object floats on the water, instead of this person, you just imagine a leaf. A leaf is floating on water. So water is applying force on the leaf in the upward direction. Even though on the leaf gravity acts in the downward direction, but the water is acting a force in the upward direction. So this upward force, especially in the liquids or gases, we can call that as upthrust. Okay, so in this chapter we will learn certain examples or along these different types of the forces. So before that, so I would like to discuss much more about force, what it causes. What is force and what it causes. So you can see, according to definition, force is an external effort, means it is an external effort which has to act on some other, which may move a body at rest or stop a moving body or change the speed of a moving body or change the direction of a moving body or change the shape and size of a body. So according to definition of the force, what is the force? Force is nothing but it's an action. It's just a push or pull. So this action we define as force. So if this action is done on an object, what happens? If a force applied on a rest, here you can see the car is at rest. To make car to move, this person is applying force. Yeah, if you apply force, the rest objects will comes to motion. Now here you can see the second one, force can stop a moving body. So here the goalie is catching the ball comes with a huge speed. Now the goalie is applying a force on the ball, so he is stopping the ball. He is applying a force. Without applying force, the ball it won't stop. So to stop a ball or to stop a moving object, any moving object, so we need to apply force in opposite direction. Similarly, if you can take as a first point, so to make objects to move, we need to apply force. To make objects to move, also we need to apply force. Third, you can see a force can change the speed of a moving body. Yeah, it's correct. Suppose you and your friend both are doing running. So if somebody came and he pushed from backside, so what happens to your speed? So your speed will be increases more. Since he pushed from the back, so that we can say he applied a force on you. So when he applied a force, already the object is moving. So what happens? The moving object speed increases. Just like see it here in the example. So the cyclist, if we apply more force by pedaling, so to move the cycle very fast, we need to apply more force on the pedal. We have to make it fast. So then the cycle will be moves more fast. So here he applied a force to change the speed of the cycle. So that is the one of the effect of force. Force can change the speed of a moving body. And coming to the fourth effect, if you can see, force can change the direction of a moving body. Yeah, see here, this cricketer, the batsman, so trying to hit the ball, so with the bat. Now according to his wish, he want to change the ball direction by hitting the ball. So the ball will be the move along in this direction if we can apply the force in this direction. So what causes to change the direction of the ball? Since the batsman, he applied force on the ball. Yeah, the force can change the direction of moving body. Now coming to the last effect of the force, what else it can do? Force can change the shape and size of a body. Yeah, this we already know that. Suppose if you apply a force on any object, suppose if you can take, I am having a steel scale at here. So this is looks like perfectly straight, flat. Suppose if I am applying a force on the scale. Now here you can see with my two fingers I am applying this force on the scale. So what do you observe? The scale, it is bending. So it is changing shape. Before it is straight. Now after applying force, now it became arch. Now what could be the reason to change its shape? I am applying force on this scale. So similarly here you can see. So she is making some roti with that roller. So when you apply force with the roller, so the batter will be changes its shape. So then it will be becomes a circle. So finally we can say force causes to change the shape. So let's one more time recall what is the force and what its effects. Force is an external effort or between the interaction of the two objects that causes certain changes. What force can be done or effects of force? Force can move a body at rest. Force can stop a moving body. Force can change the speed of a moving body. Force can change the direction of a moving body. Force can change the shape and size of a body. Let's see this diagram. Suppose this is the spring. So this is spring of certain length. If you can take this length just L. Now at here there is no force. But if you can see, if I apply force, this arrow mark shows that the direction of the force. Take a spring and you can apply force on the two ends, or you can take a rubber band and stretch the rubber band on the opposite sides. What happens? You applied a force on the spring or rubber band. So what happens? The rubber band will be extends or it's change its length. Now to change the shape, what we applied? We applied force. So that action makes the objects change the shape. Now here you can see one balloon. So this balloon is perfect sphere. Now here on the balloon there is no force in the first case. No force. And now if you can take the balloon and you can press between your palm. Now here you can see these arrow marks are indicating the direction of the force what you are applying. So we are applying a force with our palm on this both the directions. Now what happens? You can see the shape of the balloon. Now the shape of the balloon has changed. Here it is a perfect circle. Here it will become oval. So just like egg shape. Now the change of the shape, who is the cause or who is the responsible? Yeah, here the responsible person is force. So like that, force change the object shape. And in this case, if you can increase the force further on the balloon, what happens? The balloon will be burst. It will be explode. Now let's see in detail about force. So this is a very important point. Force always comes in pair. So what we said, force causes because of an interaction between two objects. So to apply a force, we need two objects. So we cannot apply force in one object. So just like that, I am applying a force in the air, so it's meaningless. Suppose if we take, I am applying a force on the scale, yeah, it's something is meaning. So I am having two objects with me. So at here one more hidden point is that this means force always comes in pair. So pair means nothing but, it's nothing but two. Just like shoe. We can, if you say shoes always comes as a pair. You cannot wear single shoe. And similarly at here the force always comes in pairs. And they are equal in size and opposite in direction. The forces are always comes in pair and those forces are equal in size. What is the real meaning of size at here? I will talk in detail about this. Equal in size and they are opposite in direction. Let us understand this first. For better understanding, so let us consider a situation. So two people, they stood on this skating board. I hope you know the skating board having wheels. So initially they both are at rest at a stage starting initially they both are at rest, so they both stood like that. Now as the diagram shows at here, the blue shirt person is applying force in this direction. So let me mention the direction. If I can take the direction along, this is the west direction, it's east, north, south. Now the blue shirt person is applying force on red shirt person along west direction. Now since he applied a force, obviously the red shirt person will be moved along west direction. So here you can see that the downward arrow mark represents the way he moves. And if you can notice, this blue shirt person is already on the skating board. When he apply a force on red shirt person, the red shirt person will be moved towards west direction, and at the same time the blue shirt person will also move in the backward direction, since because of these wheels. So this example I have taken to make you to understand. So if one person is moving towards west direction, so the applied person, the force applied person, he is moving opposite to the applied force. It means he moves now in this east direction. Okay, now here as per I said, force always comes in pair. So what is the pair at here? So here the two pairs are, so this is the first one and this is the second. Even though one person is applying a force, but that force is not single, it's always in pair. So let us understand that at here. Suppose this is a scale and I hold it in my fingers. Now if I am bending the scale, what do you think now? So I applied force on the scale. Yeah, where is the result? My force changed the shape of the scale. Before it was a straight line, just now it became arch. Its shape has changed. Now is the scale is also applying a force on my fingers? Yes, it is also applying a force on my fingers. I am getting hurt, I am feeling pain. So we know that. So when I apply force on the scale, so that is the force which I applied. At the same time, the scale is also applies force on me in the opposite direction. So at here, so two forces are there and they both are acting in opposite in direction. So this thing always happens whenever we applied force. Whenever we applied force. So that is a very important point to make understand. So again I am emphasizing this, means I would like to stress or highlight about this point. So the force occur because of interaction between two objects. So this is a force is nothing but interaction between two objects. So that is the first important point. And second, that force always come in pair and they both are in equal in size and opposite in direction. So try to memorize these points and try to apply wherever you just applied the force. Try to observe these 2 points whenever you are applying a force. So try to understand what is the direction of your force and what is the direction of the other person force. So these things always happens whenever we deal with the force.